Welcome to the Cosmic Journey. I am Theron. I'm your cosmic weirdo. I am an astrologer, so I use the planets and the stars to bring self awareness to individuals who like to change and become unstuck in life. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by. I hope that you stay and be a part of our community. If you are returning, thank you for coming back. Thank you for hanging with me, and yeah, I'm happy to see you here. So I do ask that you all interact with this video by liking, comment, sharing, and subscribing for sure. This will help other people be able to hear this information and see, get this out to people who may need it and want to know this information. Okay. So, right now, we're about to start a series called The Planets Through the Houses. We're going to discuss the characteristics of these planets as they move through the house.
We're back. I decided to come outside to do some recording. So we'll see how long I can get through being outside. I love the scenery out here. And what better place to talk about house number 5 than to be in a place that you enjoy. So yeah, house 5, or the 5th house, is the house of creativity, enjoyment, um, children, and sex. Yes. Um, so, yeah, I wanted to sit somewhere that I enjoy being, out here in nature with the trees and the grass and the wind and the natural light. And even though I have a little supplemental light right here because I'm under an umbrella, but you get the point. So we're going to go into the 5th house and take a look at the planets as they go through the 5th house. All right. Sun is actually housed in the 5th house in the natural astrology chart. So the natural astrology chart, Leo is the zodiac sign, and the sun rules Leo. And so if you have a sun here, you might not necessarily have Leo on your 5th house, but if your sun is in the 5th house, you or possibly have some enthusiasm about living. You like the adventures of life. You like going about life, taking risks, having fun, enjoying yourself. You may play sports or interested in sports, having the 5th sun in the 5th house. This talks about how you relate to your children. You may be passing on that enthusiasm to your children. You may enjoy having casual sex. Just the vitality of life it comes out from you, like you just like life. Now, granted, there are some signs if they are on the 5th house and you have a 5th house sun. There are, signs that may indicate whether or not you're going to be how outgoing you might be. But even then, I don't think you're going to have like a sour view about living. I believe you still will have like I said, optimistic view about being alive. And it's going to be like your identity, or who you are is how you're going to live out in the world. You may be creative. 5th house shows like how we create artistically. You may like be the center of attention. Like there's like a possibility like being an actor, or someone who, if not an actor, like someone who doesn't mind standing up, like talking and guiding the crowd, or, it could be motivational speaker. It could be somebody that would like to just doesn't mind having the spotlight on them. Because the sun here in this house doesn't mind being seen. Again, depending on the sign, where you may shine might change. You may have a sign that makes you one of the not so outgoing signs, and you still shine, but you may shine behind the scenes. Like, you may not show your face on camera, or you may not stand up in front of the crowd, but you are probably the one that keeps everything going behind the scenes, and you are recognized for it. Um, with the sun being in this house, there is a particular want, a desire to be recognized for um, the work they put into. Moon being in the fifth house, this person will bring a nurturing quality into the fifth house, and therefore they either will have children, or I wouldn't be surprised if they work with children. They could even be slower in maturing emotionally with the moon being here in the fifth house. Um, their their intuitive quality would be here in the fifth house. So whatever they create is something that fulfills them emotionally and nurtures their soul emotionally. So they would be like creating from the heart, putting their heart out there, their feelings and their emotions out there through their creativity. Um, they still like to be recognized and appreciated for what they do, because um, they are generous. Um, they like to help and do for people, but they at least like a thank you every once in a while. With it being in the fifth house, they do want to be recognized um, every once in a while for the job that they do for their families, for their surroundings, like work or anywhere else. Venus in the fifth house. So the fifth house, just in general, is a house that's attracted to luxury and opulence naturally. So when you place a Venus planet here in the fifth house, that intensifies. The person would want to surround themselves um, around beauty, around luxury, around comforts of life. Um, they would possibly go broke making sure, I shouldn't say go broke. Let's just say they would, they don't mind spending money for that luxury, for that opulence, to be around them, to be close to them, for them to feel luxurious and regal, and all those things that the fifth house likes to portray and what likes to give off. So Venus will add to that enthusiasm, but their surroundings, their enjoyment would come from the finer things of life. And yeah, like I said, they wouldn't mind spending money to acquire it. Because Venus has to do with our finances, beauty, art, finances, relationships. May have multiple partners. Trying to talk today. Multiple partners, as far as like sexual partners, because you might be the flirt, the person who has a lot of charisma. You attract people to you. You might not necessarily be serious with them, but all in all, you have fun with them while you can. Um, then there's the aspect of, I think, you can very well be an artist. You can very well, um, like I said, you're attracted to the finer things and the beauty in the world. So either you're going to be acquiring it, or you're going to create it and put it out there. Now, chances are, because of harmony and justice that Venus is a part of, you may deal in something like that you may enjoy um, being um, the person who brings harmony, the person who brings peace to the people that are around you. Yeah, you can definitely date, but you also, and that's because you're social. You're definitely social. Fifth house is social. And then when you have a Venus come into play, another social planet, you may throw all the nice luxury parties. Now, it may be for a charity, it may be for something about some, to fight for the rights of someone, but, or, a specific group, but you're the one throwing the party or the gathering um, for that, you know, for that, whatever that subject or that matter is that you're trying to get justice and harmony and truth for. Um, I could see the Venus being in the fifth house as somebody that initiates those types of events. Yeah, those types of events that pull people together, bringing them on a one accord. Jupiter, if you heard me talk about Jupiter in other videos, sometimes I refer to Jupiter as all gas, no brakes, depending on where it's at. Well, the fifth house is one of those houses where Jupiter is all gas, no brakes. So the fifth house is already risk taking. Some of the other characteristics of the fifth house, I should say, is risk taking, sports, like we talk creativity, children, sex. You put Jupiter into that, it's going to intensify. Um, this is the, you know, I can see somebody with Jupiter playing sports and they are the risk takers in that sport. Like they're going to try it. If they think about it, they're going to try it and they're going to see how far they can go. They're going to push the envelope because they want to keep growing, expanding, and seeing what's out there. Um, they can be careless because of this, not paying attention to any of the details, just driven by the need to go, the need to move. Again, they're not really have horrible setbacks either when it's something that doesn't work. They look at it as a just a lesson, and tomorrow they're off again, pushing the envelope, taking that risk. For children, they may have a lot of children. They may want, if not have a lot of children, want a lot of children or work with a lot of children. If children are important to them, they if they are creative, they're doing it on a huge scale. Like they're trying to see how big they can make this sculpture or how tall um, they can climb this mountain. So they're very the adventure is just intensified, and there unless there's something aspecting this Jupiter to kind of like balance that off, they will always be on and ready to go, and just like I said, pushing that envelope every step, every step. There is no, they see no limit in their brain. It's like everything can be accomplished, and which is a good thing because everything can be accomplished. But the problem is there may not be any attention to details, so they may bump their head along the way. Again, Jupiter in the fifth house may not care that they bump in their head. It just, the innate feeling of just let's do it, let's go, will supersede that. But yeah, you still have to think about the repercussions sometimes of the actions when you don't think about the other things that are affected by the decisions that are being made. In the fifth house, could be a person who their expression, their creative expression, may come through singing, may come through writing, some sort of communication, but on a creative. They could be the actor. Um, they could be the person. The things that they would do and enjoy in life would be things that logically make sense to them because they're coming from an intellectual, logical, analytical mindset. So, like this person may enjoy something like chess, and they're they're the person who shows up every day to play chess because they like that mental challenge. They may take risks where, again, it's giving them a mental challenge because and I mean like risk, like in gambling or in risky investments. Um, they're gonna do the work, like as in researching as much as they can, but there is gonna be a need to like let's take this risk. Let's see what happens. Um, so yeah, the with the Mercury being in the fifth house, that it brings just a creative but logical, intellectual. Um, Even if they played sports, they play it from like they can play the mind games to beat out their Mars in the fifth house. Fifth house, from the standpoint of being into sports and enjoying sports, a Mars placement here will give that competitive drive, that competitive edge to win. Um, this person is probably competitive in everything they do, whether it's work, playing sports, even with their their own family members. They could be competitive with their children. Um, there is a that drive, that need. They're enjoying life, but they're enjoying life kind of as it is, button heads with people. Sorry, fly, but button heads with people, and it's enjoyable for them. Probably drive everybody else crazy, but it's enjoyable for them. It's hard to turn that off, um, that drive, that determination, but it's that competitive. I gotta win, and I gotta do this better than everybody else. And so, yeah, Mars being here will actually like there was yeah I can see like I go back to Mars being like that athlete that has that real intense competitive drive when they're out um, playing their sport on whatever field they play it on. But it's just like yes, or they could also be if they're in sales, they got to have the top sales. So everywhere they are, they're going to have this competitive edge about them that, like I said, might drive everybody else crazy, but it's a part of them and it's who they are. To the Saturn in the fifth house. So just by design of Saturn, you probably have a hard time letting your hair down, or you notice that everybody else can have fun and enjoy themselves, but somehow you've been restricted in some ways of enjoying yourself. Um, Saturn is a father figure, masculine energy. There is a possibility that the father figure or the masculine energy had some sort of influence on how you enjoyed yourself, or not enjoyed yourself. You may possibly have children, and that you could be the person who seems to be the strict parent or the more restrictive parent, or you may feel that having children is one of the obstacles you have about that's keeping you from enjoying yourself. So just like anywhere that Saturn is, it's not that they don't want you to enjoy yourself. It's just that it's going to take time, and you have to get through and learn those lessons through those obstacles. And once you get on the other side of that, you will like create an enjoyable life for yourself. So you just got to stay the course with Saturn. You just have to stay the course, and it may be something that's just that you have to fight through forever, but or at least for a long time. But if you just have to stay the course with it, and enjoy the good times, and understand, like really remember like the good memories that you have and try to build upon them, because we're all supposed to balance out and enjoy life. And I know sometimes Saturn can make it shift too much to the other side where you're not enjoying life and there's obstacles one after the other. But yeah, just stay the course, and enjoy, like really like make some memories that you can enjoy and look back. In the fifth house is the poster child for freedom. They don't want to be attached to anything. They may or may not, well, anybody can may or may not have children, but they may not want children for the fact of children may make them feel restricted and tethered to something. Originality is their flex. Creative expression would have just ooze originality. They don't necessarily, they're putting out the stuff that people, they could create trends, is what I really get into. Someone with Uranus in the, in the fifth house, this person is ahead of their time. So they already in the future where everybody else is trying to catch up. But they like their freedom. They may have multiple partners because they're not attached to any of them. Now they may make friends. Possibility they make friends that are from different backgrounds, different cultures. They have their friends have a unique, some uniqueness and originality about them. But yeah, that you wouldn't be surprised if they are friends with. You would be surprised with who they may be friends and who they may know. Um, and it'll be all walks of life, all backgrounds, because they don't really attach themselves to any system. So they don't necessarily look at people and categorize them as maybe I should talk to them, maybe I shouldn't, or I'm above them or I'm beneath them. They pretty much walk in with the idea I'm not attached to any one of you all, so you all on an equal playing field for me, and long as we get along, we're good. The part about being free, without some type of discipline, they may not want to take on any type of responsibility, which would make them look like they don't like adulting, paying bills and some of the mundane things. And it's not that per se, it's just that it messes with their sense of wanting to be free, their sense of wanting their originality. It's too cookie cutter that you grow old, as you grow up, you have kids, you pay bills, you do it's too cookie cutter. They don't like what's the cookie cutting, the actual cookie that it forms. They like to form their own cookie. So they will take responsibility. I won't say that they're like irresponsible, but it may come out looking like they're not, because they're not going to go for the same things that society is going for. But the things that they choose to have a part of their life, they will take responsibility for. Absolutely. Pluto into the fifth house. Pluto has a characteristic that where our sexuality, our intimacy lies, and the fifth house is the house of casual sex or using sex for creating. So you add Pluto into the fifth house. This person probably brings on a very rich sex life. There is probably a sense of intimacy in all their encounters. But that not there's a sense of intimacy in their encounters, but it's probably like not really their intention. They're enjoying themselves, where the partner may feel like it's a little bit more serious, a little bit more intimate than the Pluto placement intended. So it's important for both parties to be on the same page with that, as far as the relation. If there's a relationship, if there is a relationship, like it's just like one partner type thing. Yes, the encounters are very. They want them to be intimate, meaning like there is a deep emotional connection that goes along with the sex encounter, and the emotional connection could be just as important as the sexual encounter. Um, this person, if they are creating, they could create from a deep emotional space. If sexuality is like really strong with them, even their creativity, even if they're like they draw, or they're doing some type of artistic work, you would see some of that sexual vibe in the work that they produce. Now, Pluto, again, another characteristic of Pluto is being possessive. So in relationships, there may be a jealous aspect to this placement. Um, like you belong to me and nobody else. That may have to be, worked through. Also, with possessing things and being in the fifth house that likes luxury, that likes to have nice things around, Pluto will bring in that aspect of I must have these things. So they could be collectors, um, which could bring on pack rat or hoarding with Pluto here in the fifth house, because they got to have it all. It makes them feel good. You have to understand that deep emotional, if there's any type of insecurity there, it's going to drive some more of that. Let me go out and get this to make myself feel better. So retail therapy could fall in this house also. In the fifth house would definitely intensify creativity in this person. There is creativity. Person could, their intuition could be intensified. They can even have psychic abilities. And because it's in the fifth house, it's going to be a part of their um, self expression. So it's going to ooze out of them. They have no way of containing it. It's a part of who they are. And yeah, it's going to be displayed out for people to see in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Um, they may have multiple sex partners um, because there is a sense of, well, Neptune is very fluid. So there's a lot of fluidity. They let it flow. So they just, they see somebody, they like them. There's an attraction to them, and they just see where it goes. And so it's hard for Neptune to keep boundaries and maintain their boundaries. So yeah, for this might get them in trouble if they're trying to be monogamous in a relationship. One thing though, Neptune may not be good with risk taking. Not that they don't take risks, but it's not really a strong suit for them, because Neptune can bring about confusion. So the person may not um, have reality. Like there might not be in reality when they're making their decisions. They look at things through a rose-colored glasses, so they may not really see the truth that's in front of them because it's filtered. So they're taking risks. Chances are they don't have all the facts, or they're not seeing the risk for what it really is. So, they have to be really careful about gambling or risky investments or anything like that, because they can be really taken advantage of for the sake of not necessarily having a reality, having their self planted in reality, and excuse me, looking through that like rose colored glasses, and everything is cool and fine and we're all going to be great. And that's not the case, because somebody can sniff that out and totally exploit it and take advantage of them in this house. So we have Chiron, which is not a planet, it's an asteroid and a comet. But again, I wanted to add it to the series because it is important, because it is showing up as where we have been wounded, possibly in childhood or in some aspect of our lives or some stage of our lives. We have been wounded in wherever Chiron might be. Here in the fifth house, there may have been some type of, it could have been a betrayal. It could have been someone just pulling you down, talking down to you. There might have been a traumatic experience that had you feeling insecure about being self-expressive. You may feel like you're not enough. You don't know what you're talking about. Like whatever that thing that you were fed at, emotionally fed, in your upbringing, or when you try to put out yourself to be, you try to be courageous in something. You try to stand out in one aspect or another, and you had someone or something tell you you wasn't good enough. You don't know what you're doing. You need to not be who this person is. It's not good for you. Whatever that negative tape rolling around, it happened. Chiron being placed here lets us know that it happened for a reason. You're here to heal that wound, to not only heal that wound, possibly get to a place where you can help others heal from some of the similar pain that you have experienced. One thing about Chiron, though, you're not going to necessarily, you're going to keep leveling up in the healing part, but this will be something that will always come back around, and it will always be something that you would have to revisit, do some more work on, yeah, and try to counter those negative tapes that are going through your head. But like I said, as you get better at like actually working through this, you will have the capabilities of helping someone else work through something similar. So yeah, you have Chiron sitting here, and some people call this the mother wound. So you may have had issues. Your mother might be that negative tape, but that's not necessarily the case. This could just have come from, it can come from anywhere, but it was about you trying to self express, build your self confidence, be out there, show yourself as like, let your light shine in this world. And somehow you got the message that your light or who you are wasn't good enough to, or what you wanted to do wasn't, something wasn't right about it. And you're having to work through that to get past it and to enjoy life and to self express.